Hello, I am Jay Choi, and today I am joined by my guest,
Chad.
Chad, Nate Rasa, and welcome to the studio.
Yo,
Rush of ideas and just imagination and chaos. You make things, you break things in the span of seconds just with your thoughts.
kinesthetic style, but only within the mind.
Take a whole idea and deconstruct it and then rebuild it in a completely different way.
Swimming in chaos.
Welcome to
I
Just
can't
Even
with
myself.
right
now.
Let's go.
So now that you've gotten to get to know us through these many numerous episodes, as well as our off-studio episodes, we are going to have an interesting little segment here where essentially this episode, as you can see by the title, is an introduction to Nate Rasa. We're going to dive into his experiences, his past, his deepest, darkest secrets, his social security number, credit card information, address, etc.
Starts writing it down and hands it to
All
you.
of that. Yeah. So all of that. His address will be in the description below. Go ahead and check that out. Make sure you drive over, say hi.
If you
But
can
yeah,
find me.
yeah. So anyway, basically, yeah. So it's just now that you've gotten to know us through these topics that we've talked about, and you got to know our personalities, and also you've heard some of our stories. We want to have a little more focused segment of who are we? What are we doing here?
Took us
Right?
until what, 28, 29 episodes?
Yeah, so we're on
talk about
episode
us.
28 to finally get here. But this episode is dedicated to Nate Rasa. So now I am going to turn the camera over to Nate.
Wait, how do you even start this? Is my question.
Okay. So I kind of want to go through different formative periods of your life. So let's just start
Oh,
with
snap.
I don't know how the education system works in Canada. Is it the same as America with middle school, elementary?
We have that
high
too,
school?
but I was not one of the schools that
Right.
had those. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's start off with you were born in the Philippines?
Yes.
How long were you there for, I guess?
A year.
Oh, okay. So you were raised
Basically, yeah, I was
Canada.
raised here, yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay,
arrived here when I was 1 year old.
Oh,
Just a little baby. Yeah, I have a baby picture somewhere, but I was very, very young. And I was cute. I was a cute baby. I was one of those. I had a
I need
huge
to
forehead.
see a picture or else I don't believe you.
Wait, hold on. If I can find a picture of my cute
It'll
little
be
self.
your background.
Yeah, it'll be my background. I was thinking about it. I was I'll
Yeah.
just make a cute little picture of me. If I can find. I found it.
That was really quick.
Look at that. Look at that cute baby.
How did you get there that quick? Okay, yeah, that's a cute picture. Oh, you posted it on Twitter before.
I think so.
Okay.
I was a cool
basically,
baby.
I was thinking more so of I want to hear a formative event or story of something that happened throughout your life. What do you think are the big events that have happened in your life, and go ahead and share a little story or something.
I hadn't realized that. I think about it. I generally had a relatively quiet life. Now I'm saying this, which I'm probably gonna eat my words afterwards, because not everyone's lives are actually boring. I don't know. It's just I was a kid that I never had stranger danger problems. That was never my issue. I was always sociable, extroverted. As a kid, especially as a kid, it was very oh, if I see you, we're dancing. You're gonna be kidnapped by me. We're gonna be on a dance floor. And I was 5, and I also wanted to move out at 5. So there was also that thing. I thought I would have been maybe I could make it as a child actor. I don't know. Were they hiring Asians at the time? Who knows?
No.
Yeah, but
how do you think your views on what kind of an episode on this, but just how do you think your views of romance and love have changed as you've grown older? Because mine have definitely changed a lot. So I just was
okay. I can go up from that one.
Your first crush, maybe first kiss, versus how you view romance now. Very different, right?
Let's go. I have been. I was so awkward as in high school. Hormones kicked in, and it was just. Man, it was not a fun, I don't really have much pleasant memories of high school. That makes sense. Like, unlike the folks who peaked in high school, I definitely did not. I was very, I'd rather
I don't
be
trust
alone.
people who peaked in high school. I'd
rather be alone.
Like, it's fine to be great in high school, but then you should go on to be even better. Like,
well, there we go, right? Like the pictures you see of now, by the way, that we have as our background. This is a period of me coming out of my shell, by the way. So before everyone understands, it's like, oh wow, like you had a shell. Oh. Yeah, I did. Like, I didn't have stranger danger as a kid, but I gained it in high school because of the whole landfill emotion of shame of like, you can't, you know. And I had
how big was your high school? Like,
it was pretty big. 3 floors. As if that was big.
I'm talking about people.
People. Yeah, thousands.
Because I went to private school. So my class had like 60 people, 70 people.
Just that? Really?
Yeah. Like my high school was like 200 people total, maybe.
Oh, damn. No, we got thousands.
It was an academy.
No, we got thousands of people. It was public, obviously. And we had like 200 graduates.
Wow.
200 graduates. Yeah, it was a long procession. It was.
I mean, the university I go to now has only 2,000 people.
No one cheered for me, by the way, when I walked to the thing, because I didn't really make any friends. Like they're like so minuscule, and I would make friends with people from younger than me, older than me. So the folks were not even there anymore.
Wait, do you think you get along more with people older than you or younger than you?
Definitely older. Like I was a kid, even as a 10-year-old, I was not. Almost, okay, maybe this is going to sound weird, but I wasn't technically allowed to hang out with younger people because my parents were afraid that I was going to have bad influence.
I'm going to call the cops right now. Wait, why?
Yeah. So they threw me around with, they threw me around with older folks. So I literally became around like 30s, 40s, like people who were living their lives already. So in a way, like,
I guess older. I thought you were talking about like a couple of years or something.
No, sis. Like I'm way older. To the point where I kind of looked at life knowing that my high school life was definitely not the end. Like I could not have that kind of mentality. Because,
right, like you understood that people in their 30s and 40s had real lives. They're not like.
Yeah, and they're like 10 years, 20 years past their high school. And like I've always, and I heard all the stories. They're like, oh yeah, high school is not really the end of it. Like blah blah. So I've had that running in my mind for like every year. I just wanted to get out of high school. That was just my thing. I didn't want to.
I think every year of high school, I was just like, when will I be done with this? I think that was my viewpoint.
Yeah.
I was also wondering because you're an only child, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was wondering because as a youngest child, I have a kind of hybrid experience sort of because right when I got to high school, my siblings were both in college, so they were gone. So it was like childhood, I was raised with siblings, but right when I hit like the age where I could form real thoughts without being stupid, like my siblings were gone. So at that point, I was kind of an only child, sort of.
Gotcha. But you didn't have the only kid thing of not knowing how to share, right? Because you had to share constant all the time.
Right. But I was wondering for you if that meant since you're an only child, that's why I was asking if you got along more older or younger.
Yeah, because my parents felt really ill-prepared, like to raise a kid, especially since they moved here. We started out very low middle class, if not even lower than that. And like, yeah, because we didn't really have connections. My mom had to like work all the way from the ground up to have any kind of financial security.
Right.
And so with that being said, she relied on the community that she befriended. She's an SB Dom 6-wing something, SPSL. So she definitely knew who to talk to and what her networking skills are actually top notch. So I was raised by the village, basically.
Right.
So I was the kid that, like, while I didn't have a lot of people the same age as me.
You had a lot of caretakers, I guess?
I did, absolutely. Like, they both had to work full-time jobs, and because of that, they couldn't afford, and they couldn't trust leaving me with a babysitter because the babysitter would hang out with other kids who also were kind of iffy to their mentality. They're very helicopter type, but because they had to work, they couldn't helicopter me in that moment, so they had to, like, hire friends to take over instead of babysitters. So I became acquainted to like so many people as a kid.
Well, what kind of like friends do you think you had as you grew up? Like, were you ever part of like friend groups or not really? Was it mainly
only
just girls?
Now have I been like that. Back then it's always been like 1 or 2 people. I never really gotten like, you know, the whole popular crew when you have like a bunch of people together. I tried getting along with them. But for some reason, I always came up different.
Yeah.
I always came up odd, which I mean, like, right, whatever. But I did I don't know, I had like this reputation for some reason that because I was like too happy or too out there or too fun, that, and then I had such strict parents, it was really hard for people to get along with me because I had to go home on time. I couldn't like, I couldn't
like you can hang out after school.
Yeah, I couldn't mingle
like,
for too long because I had to be
right.
home. My parents didn't want me home. Like it was
No, I understand.
And like, but then what's crazy is like for a person like me who had like half of my life being like imprisoned in my own home, I grew up to be so sociable. It's insane.
Yeah. Do you think maybe it's like you were repressed from it so hard that now like you gotta, or you think it was just like it was bound to happen anyway sort of thing? Or
what do you mean, like bound to happen?
Like you being so sociable? Like do you think it's a result of you being sheltered, or do you think it was like you would have been like that regardless of
I think regardless, because I was such a rebel. Like I would test the boundaries because I would make comparisons. Like I could see other kids of parents turning out fine. They're not dying, they're not doing drugs, they're not doing all the things that my parents were scared that I would end up doing. Mm-hmm. So I'd be like, why do they get to have fun and sleep over and have like video game parties and I'm not allowed to touch one?
Right.
It's like that did not make it was very inconsistent. I think maybe my TE was very upset about it because I was like, you tell me there's a rule and suddenly everyone's breaking the rule, so what the heck?
Yeah, it's like why is the rule only for me when it's not?
Yeah.
and I relate also as like, like raised in a conservative Asian Christian household. Yeah, I relate hard. So I get you on that. I really do.
Although I have to say, like, I can't say that that my parents' raising was wrong. Although I did call them out on it before, but I was like, y'all are too strict. Like there's some kids who are like, we never talk back to our parents. I definitely talk back. It's what caused a lot of issues in high school because I was going through my FI and I was kind of like, I am not happy with how these things are being applied in the household. So I would get confident in that area. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like it was, I would say I was so much rock and roll during that period of my life before I committed. I don't know if I should even say this, but like a psychological transformation.
You've said it in like 2 other episodes.
I know, I've said it, but it's maybe because it's okay. Maybe I should just put a trigger warning. Committing a psychological suicide. Prior to that moment in my life, everything was already very rocky. I was already unhappy with how things were turning into because I was afraid of becoming the person I didn't want to be.
Wait, how old were you? Like 16 when you did it?
When that happened? 19, actually.
19.
Because I was still being told to have curfews and stuff at 19. And like, so I was really pissed off about it. But at the same time, I didn't have the willpower inside because I was like this poor little cuck trying to like figure it, so unhappy with myself and so, was so weak. I don't know. I like looked at myself like, oh, you still weak. Even though like there probably wasn't any reason to be, but it felt like I was. Like I was merely, you're just a son. You're just a kid. You're not anything. So that I internalized. So you got to get rid of that guy.
It's interesting though, how like we grow up. I mean, I think it's interesting because like, when people have kids, they usually aren't imagining when their kids are adults and their relationship with their kids as like adults. I think that's something that parents can struggle with. Do you think your parents have finally come to terms with with it? No,
I don't think so either. I think they're learning as they go along. I think, and that's partly because I was an only kid. If I had a sibling, things probably would have been different because they would have at least practiced on the other.
Well, I was thinking that, but for me and my family, actually, it's like my siblings are adults, but me as the youngest, they can't imagine it. They can't fathom it. They literally like call me in Korean like the baby. And I'm like, you can't call me that. I'm literally 37 now. Like, yeah. I've outgrown that.
I've called my parents out that I'm like, well, I'm gonna be 30 and I'm still gonna be like a child. Like, I already got a beer gut, mom. Like, this isn't happening.
Yeah, like I'm just like, I'm like, and like I love my family also, but like I think you and I both have that like our SP is very comfortable and likes the resources, but we need our like independence, our freedom.
Yeah,
cleave away.
Well, here's the thing though too, like a funny thing about that independent thing, like remember how like other types who aren't SP are almost more likely to move out because they like, I want this life, blah blah blah, but because there's a lack of taking care of yourself and like putting your needs first and wants second, So they tend to go through such a hard experience,
and then they have to move back.
Well, no, not even. Like, yeah, some of them are successful and they continue to move out and stuff, but then they lack basic skills.
Yeah,
so,
but you have developed your SP to the point at this point, obviously, where if you moved out, you'd be like,
oh, 1,000%. Yeah, I would be fine. I just don't move out because there's like this little thing. I have this future deal thing with my parents where, because my parents had me when my mom was 33. So she wasn't in like her ripe age of 20s. Which is why she herself never felt pressured to have kids and to get married. So when she did have a kid, it was very like, okay, well, I did it. And that's a philosophy that she's passed down to me too. Like, I've never felt this need to seek out to find somebody. You're not
like, as in you're living your life, like you're pacing yourself.
Yeah, she told me, exhaust your singlehood. Be tired of it by the time you want to get married, to the point where like, okay, I can actually imagine being with somebody, but since I don't right now, there's no point. Even though they joke about it, they're like, am I gonna be old enough to see you have a grandkid or something? I'm like, I don't know, actually.
True.
Who knows? No, but the deal that I have with them is like, because when they retire, because they are in their 60s now, there's this deal of like, 6 months they want to spend like in the Phillies, or like, and then 6 months here. And I think that's actually kind of a safe thing, because being a person who lives in Vancouver, it is impossible to own a home.
Vancouver, what's the street name?
Maine.
What's the number?
The address will give you my real.
The address will be in the description below or in the comments, so go check that out.
And it'll actually be like a restaurant or one of my favorite cafes. Hey, then you'll find me there, if anything, right? No, like it. So because of that arrangement going on, I can't fathom another idea of like, I'm gonna move out and live my life. Even though, let's say I did strike it rich, who knows? And I actually did have the resources to go forward with it. But usually, why would I do that when I could at least just maintain what's present?
Right, like the 6 months they're gone in the Philippines, like no one's in the house.
That's the winter time, which is my favorite season.
Right, it's great, yeah.
I get to spend my winter season, fall and spring to myself, and I'm like, yo. And then I
think there's also the beauty of like, well, the beauty and the whatever, but like, like as everything is online right now, and you're training right now to do online work in the future, right? Like teach English online. There's a beauty in you could relocate or not. You could be wherever you want to be. So that's a really, I think that's like a really good thing for you also, because you're not worried about like, but my job is going to be over there. You're just like, I mean, if I have this house, I'll stay in the house.
And I'll just be taking care of it. I think the biggest problem though right now is they don't understand the value of working from home. So they still assume that I have time to do chores.
I get that. I get that.
Incorrect, because if you're working, you're working. It doesn't matter if you're
It's hard though, I think, for them to wrap their minds around it, just because like, it's a different age. Like things
that is true.
So differently. Even now from like 15 years ago, like 10 years ago, could you imagine people like working the way we are right now from home? There's no way.
I had this conversation with my parents about it. Like I called them out on it because I could see them being insecure, and I called it out when I said, I have never really faulted them for missing up or messing up and missing out on raising me. Because in a way they did the best that they could. Like I'm literally 2 generations gap with my parents, because you know how typically it's like 20 you gap kids, right? But this time it's like 30s, 30 mid 30s. So they don't really like they enjoyed my teens at their 40s,
right?
So it's already a different ballgame.
I mean, I relate also because my parents. I mean, I'm the last child, so my mom had me when she was 35.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I mean, I get it, but.
And it's like a weird like mix, right? They're still trying to like adjust and understand like what the heck.
Well, I think it's interesting because like my parents were born on like the edge of Gen X and Boomers. They're like, and then my brother and sister are millennials, but then I am Gen Z.
The lone Zoomer.
I'm Gen Z, but also I had older siblings, so I can relate with the millennial stuff because I had their influence. But like, I don't know, it's an interesting balance. And you too, you're like, I mean, you are a millennial, you made it there, but also you...
Yeah, I had 0 Gen X. I think the only Gen X I had was my Type 8 cousin, but mostly Boomer stuff, yeah.
But I find that interesting, because, like, as a millennial who was only influenced by Boomers, I don't know where I'm going with that, but I think it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, like, if you're going about the generalized ethics that is passed down, like the hardworking, all that shenanigans, like that's definitely been passed down on me, like trying to be domesticated. Oh, that is actually kind of interesting. My parents, especially my mom specifically, went a little out of traditional teaching by not pushing me to pursue like traditionally man jobs. That wasn't her focus. She was like, you can figure that out when you can because you're a dude. So she didn't focus on that. She focused on making sure that I could compensate my other weaker half, which was supposedly in this realm of gender roles, my female half, right? Like the ability to like be
like you
domestic
can cook,
in the household.
You can do your laundry. You're very like you love doing that stuff too.
Yeah, and so like, and the thing is, it's funny because a lot of her sisters are similar. A lot of my cousins in the Philippines actually have similar
like parenting
skill sets. Yeah,
okay.
I have an aunt who has like 7 kids, all guys, and they all know how to like wash clothes, they all know how to cook, they all know how to shop for themselves, they all know how to
see. And the thing
themselves.
is, that's very honestly, it's very woke for the like this like
for the family,
them.
Yeah, for a bunch of
like,
boomers too, right?
Especially because I mean, like honestly, like at this point, obviously, like we're not going to get into gender roles much, but you know, at this point, like there are stay-at-home husbands. There are many dual income households. So honestly, like at this point, it should be normal for you to be able to do like take like if you can't like if you're in your own apartment by yourself and you can't handle it for 3 months, like you can't live for 3 months in an apartment by yourself, then I think like that's kind of sad. Like
Oh yeah. And I always like to think whenever I mentally try to envision myself living alone, I have to always think about like the amount of corners I have to be cleaning, because that's when I clean is I do make sure it hits the corners. So by if I cut corners, then I'm not doing a good job. Therefore, my house will eventually go down in filth. It's kind of how my
just get a roundhouse.
Yeah, or just get a small apartment. That's kind of my logic there.
That's way more logical than
right?
just get a roundhouse.
Look, I have experienced it a bit. Like I technically live in a 2-floor house, which is like, but I share it with 2 other people who are my parents. When they left to go to Europe for 3 weeks, I had it to myself. My skin was flawless, by the way. There was no stress and there was no dust and hair. Because contrary to what my mom thought, I wasn't the shedder in the house. So the house was like so spotless. And then they're like, well, what the heck? They literally, the minute they arrived, it was dirty again. I'm like, don't blame it on me. I am not the
It was
the
beautiful
filth in this
until
house.
you guys came back. Yeah,
I hosted house parties and they didn't even know.
Yo, drop the
like
address.
5 house parties. Like,
drop the address, bro.
I know. We were like woo. Yeah, very Gatsby, by the way. I'm like up there with
I
my
was thinking
wine.
about that. I was like with the green light across the water.
See everybody in costume partying it up, and I'm just going like,
I would love to have like a masquerade party, like masks, ball gowns. Like that would be literally amazing.
I would dress up. I'm definitely the type of person I would love to dress up. I'm a huge role play person. Like I would love the concept of like going out, constructing your own suit, doing all that shabla. It's fun, good times.
Do you have a PO box?
I want to. I haven't gone there yet because I haven't really produced anything to pay, like for people to pay me. I'm still writing a book, which I'm dropping that at the end of the year, hopefully.
You better get cracking on that.
Yeah, well, when the book is done, there's gonna be a PO box at the end of that one, though. Like for the book thing, there is definitely.
I'm gonna send you a wig at some point, so I'm gonna need that at some point. That's all. That's
because I'm gonna be wearing like a nice.
Because it's gotta happen.
Nice lace front and call it a day. Yeah, and well, here's a funny thing.
I'll send you some fishnet stockings and stuff.
There we go. Oh well, here's another funny thing. I am somewhat acquainted with women's clothing, not because I watch a lot of drag shows.
Well, that too.
But like I do. One, I was raised by a bunch of matriarchs, so that was my background. I also like one of my best friends is a makeup artist.
That's so cool.
And like the other one's like closely following her footsteps, and I was like, I don't know, and they were like super SI about it, like apothecary, trying to make yourself look prettier, enhance your features. So I'm like familiar with the terminology that I guess some other folks might not know about. Like, so I don't know.
You're very knowledgeable
about certain products because I asked about it. Plus, hey, if I get to have nice clear skin, why not?
Oh my goodness! For one of your off studio episodes, could you just do like your face care routine?
My beauty routine.
Yeah. Please, I want to know what products.
I'll just for a nighttime before I go to bed, I'll be like, so guys,
Yeah.
drugstore stuff, honestly. Right now I'm doing drugstore stuff. My friend's the one who has the very high-end products. I envy her for that because she let me use some of them. She's like, put it on a pad and like you put on your face. I was like, wow. You shave off like 5 years. And like as a person who's turning 26 soon, it's like shaving 5 years ain't bad. Girl,
I thought you were older than me.
I know. I'm like,
wait, how old are your kids then?
37. I'm at this point, do we even care about the age of anybody? Age is just a number.
My age changes every episode. So,
yeah.
So I don't know.
You know what's funny? I laugh when NI users are like, oh no, we're aging. And I'm like, you're finally gonna look your age though. So why are you upset? Like, weren't you always 65? I don't see.
Wait, okay, that's amazing. But also, I was just thinking about how NI users, they look so young for their age. A lot of them,
they're pretty youthful, but then their brains are like wrinkled.
Yeah,
like, I mean, so wrinkled.
I think that NI users look really youthful, and then NE users act really stupid.
I mean, I still see myself as the old silver fox that's feeding pigeons at a park, like, and having the fun time.
Like, I'm always like the goofy one who will be joking and stuff. Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah.
So, 'tis life. Did anybody actually know anything about me? I feel like I just be just some tangented away from.
That's kind of how all of our episodes have gone. Is there anything that you want to share that's like
that I haven't shared already? Right?
Yeah. Like how much you appreciate me as a person.
I don't know.
Get an F in the chat, boys. F in the chat. I'm just gonna go cry.
I say a lot of the things that she's thinking, so it's not really an F.
I mean, okay. Interestingly enough, like we've been doing this for how long now? Since May?
June. Well, late May, right? Late May.
No, it was May, I think.
Damn.
No, I don't know, but it's been like 2 months or so. By the time this airs, it's been like 3 months or so. But like we have never once like triggered each other.
There's no need to.
That's so interesting. It's so like we're so unhealthy, but it's so healthy. And I hate talking to you, but like it works.
It works.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny because I actually say that a lot of my online friendships, you know, I never triggered them. There was really no reason for it.
I get that because I mean you can be so selective also because you're not forced to talk to anyone online.
That's true. No, but even then, like I've become witness to people's blow-ups and like rages, and I'm present in the voice chat, but it's never directed at me. Usually I'm the guy that says, ooh, you poked the bear. Like I'm kind of stirring the pot in the room, but I've never really been the focal point of the drama.
That's
usually
true.
When I am, it's kind of
I mean, exciting. I think the thing though is also just like, you know when, not always, but you know when to like who to say what to. You're really good at that.
I guess so.
Like you say a lot of things to me that I know you would never tell to the person.
I mean, yes. Well, that's the thing though. It's like I don't care enough to be that kind of.
And like if you're talking about someone to me, I know we're literally just like it's about the concepts. We don't care about the person. We're not making judgments on the person. It's just
I've told you this too, and I'll say it again for the sake of the episode. A lot of people that I've like back talked as, and I'll be honest, like I've definitely said a lot of stuff off the air and off the studio about people, but I will still save them from a burning building, if that makes any sense. Like I will still give them the dignity and the respect that they do deserve. But then at the same time, it's like, yeah, I do that, but that doesn't mean I can't call you out when you're being dumb.
Right.
Like that's still fair game, I feel.
Right.
Because I don't know, like maybe I'm starting to develop archetypes of people from traits I've been observing off of people online that I want to mimic and imitate. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it is treating when you roast people, roast them as if you were an older brother. trying to like roast somebody that you want them to succeed. So it's not like you're putting them down.
It's the thing, like never speak from anger, and if you're gonna
Yes.
criticize with love, you know, like that stuff. Like
yeah, big fan of the tough love concept. I get it a lot. Maybe that's probably why I follow suit, because I do get a lot of tough love.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that too. Like my mom, I think she's a pretty critical person, but it's always with love. So it's like,
yeah,
helps me grow to be a better person. Even like it makes me realize, yeah, you could always do something better.
Yeah. And you know what, it's funny too, because it's like I think that a lot of the times we know what we want to receive in terms of feeling love, but I also, while I admit I get that, I also want to say like there's also people being able to understand how a person gives it, and it is within their, let's say, learning capacity, their mental territory to give it, and you can't really demand more if they can't give more.
Right. That's why, like, I mean, people miss the point so hard with like love languages, where they think it's just like, oh, how do I receive love, experience love? I'm like, it's about the person you're loving too. It's how do they experience it? You should try to tap into that too.
And like talking about where you most feel your best self.
Right, exactly. Like you gotta, there has to be an intersection somewhere. It can't just be like.
Yeah. It's funny because I do like to think of myself as pretty low maintenance as a person, but like that is to other people. But to myself, I'm pretty high maintenance. I'm so lazy to myself. But for everybody else, they're like, oh, you're so productive and industrious. And I'm like, yeah, it's because there's someone's watching.
That's funny. No, I understand. I mean, I'm a 3. So, like, that's why when I'm studying, the thing is, I know that about myself, and you know that about yourself. But like, so that's why if I'm working on a lot of stuff for school, I tweet about it so that I can make myself do it, because I know there's an audience, and hey, if it gets me to do it.
I have to say that it is a coping mechanism that is very effective.
Yeah,
like the whole Twitch streaming thing, when I first realized that people were watching, I'm like, oh wow, you're way more conscious of the game and being more engaged. Because I usually am very like, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Work.
I guess that will be the end of the episode. Thank you for joining us through this journey where we learn nothing about Nate in the episode about Nate. And we'll see you for the next one, which will be all about me.
There we go. Which I think would be way more entertaining.
I kind of doubt that, but we will see. We'll have more of these episodes maybe in the future, like similar style, once we figure out what.
Well, let's open it to the floor. If you guys got any questions to ask us, because you're curious.
Ask Nate Rasa about his first kiss. Yeah. And we will see you on our next episode. Goodbye.